Oh, I don't even know why we're doing this one today. You've got something. What do you got?
I do. Okay. So, you've probably heard of the scams on LinkedIn, of the hiring scams, job
Yes.
scams galore. And I use just LinkedIn just because it's a share your role and about your job. And so it's a great place to look for jobs. Well, I recently had a friend, a well-educated, cyber-secure mindset friend, tell me about a hiring scam that she was just part of.
Was she the
Victim of.
hiree or the hirer?
Hiree.
Okay.
So, um, what happened is, so she got a personal email about an executive communications role at a company called Striver. It's a
Okay.
legit company. They do VR. And so she looked them up, and it all checked out. She's like, okay. It was not only perfect for her background and her interests, but she did the due diligence. So she looked at the company, it was legitimate, the name of the contacts that were reaching out to her that
Okay.
matched the real employees. Okay, check.
Now, were they reaching out to her from an email address that was tied to the company, or obviously it couldn't be if it wasn't the legitimate company? Or were they just reaching out to her through messaging through LinkedIn?
Messaging.
Okay, got it.
So her first red flag, because they were telling her about this role, was the
Would they ask for the
salary.
nude pics?
Yeah, kind of. Was the
Oh
salary.
no.
So the salary was for $320,000.
Okay.
Now, this is much higher than her current role, but it's also a California-based company. So she's
All right. Yeah, not out of the realm of reality.
no, so she's intrigued, but she's cautious. That HR person passed her off to a hiring manager. So when she looked this hiring manager up, the person had an IT title on LinkedIn, which seemed off to her, but it wasn't necessarily a deal breaker because they're, 50, 100%
Sure.
company.
I mean, sometimes people carry many hats, or they change roles and they didn't update it.
Yeah,
Lots of
maybe she
reasons.
didn't update it on LinkedIn.
We can still justify all this away. It's still a great job. They're still going to pay good money.
They're like,
Let's
you're going to
keep
pay me
going
money.
down the
Right.
track.
Well, but this is when the communications moved to Microsoft Teams. And the first interview she did was 60 minutes, and it was done via chat only with this hiring manager. So that's kind of weird. She said
Really
it
weird.
seemed odd, but it explained, she's like, oh, maybe that's Silicon Valley culture. She didn't know. But
Justifying away still. I like it.
I know. But the questions, here's the thing. The questions were all about the role. There was not specific any personal information. There were no links. There were no attachments. It was all about the role.
Okay.
So hence why it's the justified, So she passed.
Nothing weird. Not asking for money yet.
Right. So then she went to a phone interview. So this interview was with their chief revenue officer. And when the person researched them, he appeared to be Indian. So on the call, when the person had an Indian accent, that wasn't suspicious to her.
All right.
Okay.
So far, so this is the long con for sure.
I know.
All right.
So this is a 30-minute call that she had, and it was role focused. It went really well. It ended at the talk of them moving forward. Okay, great. So the next morning,
It's going to turn out that it was actually a legitimate thing, and she just screwed up and didn't think it was.
okay, well, here's the deal. So the next morning, she gets a message from the chief revenue officer saying that her position, and this is on Microsoft Teams again, saying congratulations, welcome to Striver. And like she said, we're so excited to have you. Welcome to Striver. Welcome to Striver. And the HR person even messaged her, welcome to Striver. The first person she had to interview, the welcome.
Wow, this is mean almost.
I know.
If this goes where I think it's going. Holy hell.
Well, she was so busy. She had back-to-back meetings at her job. So she's like, whoa. She's like, wait a minute. I haven't officially accepted yet.
Okay.
But then they requested documentation, her hiring docs, to be sent to her. They sent to her over email and Teams. So they sent her the hiring docs. But then no documents were ever sent because she wanted to know more about the role. Like, she's not just going to dump her job and she doesn't know much about this role. She's had one conversation, real conversation, she thought. And then when they did send the documentation, they wanted to set her up on payroll first. And when it clicked for her that this was a scam. So it was just out of order. So they overly rushed it and they had the wrong onboarding steps.
So your tip is when you're scamming people, you need one extra step first. This is an educational to the scammers of what they did wrong.
Listen, there are some improvements I can make, but if this is the thing, is that everything was just slightly off, but not enough to trigger immediate alarm. So
which seems to be the MO on scam. Like so many times when I've scammed people, when I've been hired to rip off whoever, they have literally said the words you just said. This seemed a little bit weird. This seemed a little bit off. This seemed a little bit weird. But, and they can always justify it away. And fortunately, your friend did catch on, because I'm assuming what that personnel, or when they wanted to do payroll, they were asking for like account numbers.
Yes, and that's where she was. But here's the thing: they used real employee names from this driver company, so that made it more believable. And then they also targeted her LinkedIn. So it played directly to her areas of expertise. So that blurb that we probably all have on our LinkedIn that says exactly what we're good at and what we do? They built the job description based off of that.
It's so smart. I always said LinkedIn is the greatest hacker tool ever. Like I use it because I like using it for finding new employees. Because whenever I want to target an organization and I need to send like phishing emails, first thing I do is I go to LinkedIn, I go through all the people that are registered as being part of that company, and I find all the new employees and I target them first with the assumption they're village idiots and they're not going to know any better, and I'll send emails on behalf of other coworkers to them.
It makes sense. But here's the gray area. So that my friend, she did reach out to the real contact at Striver, so the real initial contact, and she sent her a LinkedIn DM. And that person confirmed that they're aware of these impersonation scams that are happening, but there's nothing on their website or social media about it. So, she's left feeling a little bit disappointed that there's no public warning, because had there been a public warning on their hiring website, she would have been like, okay, well, this is a scam.
Yeah, that's a good call. Like, and especially if they're aware, it doesn't take much for them to put something up that just says, notice scams are going on.
Right.
When we contact you, we'll contact you from this. And make it really clear to people. That would help a lot. I
know. Well, and this is the gray area, because there's no law that says you have to do that. It would truly just be you're being proactive. How hard is it to add just a one-liner on your website that said, we're aware of these impersonation scams?
Yeah, and tell people like that. Give them what to do or how to know it's you, that it's legitimate. When we contact you, we'll contact you from this account, this thing, this X. So
now we know fraudsters will say, listen, I know on our website it says we will only contact you via X. However, we're making an exception because we really want to hire you. But we all know, that's part of the whole scam.
This is our super stealthy account.
Yeah, exactly. This is our super stealthy account. So anyway, I wanted to share that because this is happening a lot. It's legit. Companies are using legit names. So whether this is a warning for you as somebody that's seeking a new role and going through this process, or you have the ability to help, your company's getting these scams and being targeted and these impersonation attempts, throwing a line on your hiring page can help. That would have saved my friend hours of time.
Yeah, well, the hours is the part that's so impressive. Scammers normally want to get the quick hit. The fact that they were willing to focus on one person for that long helps really legitimize it. Because if you're the victim, you go, no scammer's going to spend 3 hours in calls and meetings. That's like absurd. So, man, it's brilliant on the criminal standpoint, from the criminal standpoint. But yeah, just excellent. This is really, really good information. Definitely something everybody needs to be aware of.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we did this one.
Me too. All right. Always a pleasure, Jim. Thank you.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Hey, everyone. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you have any questions, go ahead and just fill them out in the comments. I read every comment that's posted, and I'll be happy to either make a video answering your questions, or I might just message you directly to get you the information you need. Have a great day.